And I think you're totally right. I mean, what will happen if we continue to segregate that is the breeders will be, and I don't want to keep using the word breeders as like a derogatory term because there's some incredible breeders out there, whether it's
Yeah,
ball pythons or
same.
anything. Like
Yeah,
there's some amazing people working with some incredible species, and I think so many people sunk their teeth into ball pythons and rack systems that they don't know how to shift out of that. And I think there's so much more potential there for some of those people. But what will end up happening, especially the individual that you mentioned that was telling you to f off or f you because of the 4x2, those types of closed-minded individuals will find themselves in a small bubble trading snakes with each other because despite the fact that they make the claim that they are the be-all and end-all of our hobby and that without them there would be no hobby, that is actually wrong. The people who are producing the huge amount of animals for the pet trade make those breeders look tiny.
yeah,
Tiny. The big breeders, the big massive warehouse of breeders in the States are producing in a week what those people might do in 2 or 3 years of time, or even more. So it's not that we don't need them. It's that if they continue to push back on just the basics of ethical keeping, they're going to find themselves in a place where they're going to be trading bins and corkscrewed snakes with each other, and that's it.
and nido positive animals too.
That's
But
right. Yeah.
that's the thing. Like the God complex is very strong in some individuals, and it's the same when I say breeders. I'm not saying it in a derogatory way either. I'm just using it as a same with like keepers. I'm just saying it as a sorry, my coffee maker. I'm just saying it as a
Descriptor.
as a statement, as a
Yeah.
statement. And look, we can't have a God complex in an industry where we should always be furthering our knowledge. And like me, for example, so back a few years ago, I had never had a big breeder female. Madame S'mores was one of my first females, but I got in a big breeder female and I didn't know what to feed her because I didn't want her to be on the typical breeding schedule. She didn't need to bulk weight on because I'm not breeding her. She's not going to become concave after she lays. So I asked in a group, I said, what would you guys recommend feeding this snake so she gets enough nutrition, but yet I'm not overfeeding her? And then I had someone very recently actually bring that up to me. And they said, well, why would you need to ask that if you know everything about ball pythons? And I said, I have never once said that I know everything about ball pythons. Absolutely, I do not. I'm learning stuff every single day, as should everyone who's watching this and listening to this.
Mm-hmm.
I said, asking questions should never be something that you get humiliated for. And I'm not one to coddle people on Jube Jube and Friends. I know a lot of Facebook groups, they don't want you to be mean at all. Like if someone's snake is emaciated and it's in terrible condition, you can't be mean to them or whatever. I'm not going to be mean to you, but I'm going to be hard on you because one of the biggest things that I tote is you need to have your setup complete and ready to go, dialed in before you bring your animal home. Mm-hmm. Be responsible. Be a responsible keeper. And there's a lot of impulse buying, and I don't agree with it. And I will be hard on people when they come to me and they say, oh, I've had this snake, 2 months. Here's its conditions. And I'm like, you messed up. This is not good. We need to rectify this. But then it's constructive and we move forward. And I'm like, here's what we need to do. We're always learning. Everyone should be learning. It's just a facet of the industry.
Yes.
And people who sit up top and they just go, oh, well, I'm up here and now everyone's like, my sun is beaming down on everyone and they're a shadow in my godly presence. Like, are you okay? Like, are you all right over there? Because I don't know what to say. Like it's so egotistical and self-serving. Yes. And that's not how I like to do things. I get paid not $1 to run Jube Jube and Friends. I have a lot of people say that or ask me because some of my reels get like in the millions of views and stuff like that. I have all the financial stuff turned off. I don't gain anything from doing what I do. The only stuff that I gain from it is the satisfaction of helping other people, because I know that if I help them and they have a positive experience, their animal is going to thrive. And that's what I'm here for. I'm here for your animal. I'm not really here for you. I'm more so here for the animal. But I want people to be able to have a good time, feel welcomed in the industry, and have animals that are healthy and thrive. And if I can make people feel good and their snakes are doing well, then I've done my job. That's all I need to do.
Yes. Yeah. And I think there's sort of an allure to people, you seeing those sort of God complex individuals who have they create a cool morph and they have really beautiful animals, and they have this ever-present knowledge and people want to be that. So that's why, you draw more people into that world. But I think moving forward, what are some ways that we can, speaking to breeders now, because again, people who want to continue to work with animals, and I want to say there's nothing wrong with working with animals to make a profit. I have no problem with that. Of course that, everybody deserves to get paid for their time, for whatever they're doing. But when you are working with beings, there is an ethical layer to it. And if you don't want to deal with an ethical layer, then you should sell T-shirts, because then you don't have to worry about it. And maybe I should clarify, because you might want to look at where your T-shirts are made. But
Uh-oh.
Yeah, because that could be a whole other can of worms. But if you're working with animals, you're working with creatures, there is an ethical implication to what you do. And as we've said several times, that motivation of getting better and improving the knowledge is just going to have to be, that's an ever-present thread that has to run through your business. It's just that's a must. So then, as far as people who are working with animals and maybe they do want to have some cool morphs and breed ball pythons, what are some things that we can, maybe we'll end on some more of a positive note. What are some things that these people can do? Right off the top of my head, I think providing some form of mental stimulation in those tubs and providing translucent tubs has got to be two of the keys, I think.
So I think that blackout tubs have a purpose for an animal that